Have you ever wondered what it would be like to meet an extraterrestrial? Beyond what the mainstream media tells you about them, like the movie Independence Day or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. These horror movies that are inextricably linked to aliens, extraterrestrials, E.T. even. Interdimensional beings. So, I'm wondering if you would like to know the true nature of, some people call them aliens, some people call them extraterrestrials. I prefer the term extraterrestrials. Interdimensional beings or light beings. That is indicative of their true nature. Now, before I go into what those beings are like, because I have personally met them and contacted them. So, I'm going to give you an assumption, a choice. You can choose to believe this assumption from someone who has personally contacted extraterrestrials, or you can choose to believe what the mainstream media tells you about these beings being evil and, just all the things that you've heard about these beings being evil, being, scary, being, like alien, foreign to us. I wonder why they call these beings alien. Is that because they want you to feel as though these beings are alien to you and to your existence and to who you really are? Who you are? Like, unfamiliar with you? Like, oh, like, the picture I get is like the mainstream media, the government, Hollywood would love for you to believe that, oh, extraterrestrials, there's aliens, they are going to behave as though, as humans would when they invade another planet with another population. Very similar to how the Europeans came to Native America and wiped out, decimated the Native American population. There is a innate human instinct that tells us that anything foreign seeks to destroy you, your life, your way of living. And that is the furthest thing from the truth, my friends. Because what we've been brainwashed with this media narrative, and I think it's tied to the government, Project Mockingbird, look that up, of, oh, you better be scared of those aliens, man. They're gonna hurt you. They're gonna, make mincemeat out of you. They'll eat you. They'll, do really bad things to you. This is the furthest thing from the truth. But hey, I'm not going to stop you from having that belief. I can't stop you. There's nothing that I can do to talk you out of that belief that you have about this fear of alien beings and what that might mean for humanity and for your own personal existence. If you would like me to tell you the true nature of extraterrestrials, I will. Stick around. If, on the other hand, you are afraid, you're scared, you're intimidated by the subject, it goes beyond your human understanding, your willingness to stretch your mind out, then turn this video off. What we're going to discuss today is my full history of interactions with extraterrestrial beings. You could also call them interdimensional beings. That could also fit. Okay. So we have to analyze our assumptions for the, what we assume about these beings. And so I'm going to ask you a series of questions as to your assumptions. I want you to go deep. I want you to really be honest with yourself about what you really feel inside of you. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you're misinformed. I don't hold any of that against you. Because in society, what we're taught is a brainwashing campaign to keep us away from this subject. So, for those willing to take the red pill with me, here we go. So, be honest with yourself. What is your assumption about aliens, about extraterrestrial beings, about a race of beings from another planet, whether it be in our galaxy or in another galaxy? Remember, Earth is a very small blue dot in an enormous universe. Do you really think that there's nothing else out there? I want you to be honest about that and answer that question. one of the things that I thought as a newcomer to this topic was, well, okay, let's say there are beings out there, physical 3D beings with a body and a meat suit that I can touch, and if there are those beings, if there are life, if there is life, then okay, who's to say that it's human? Who's to say that it is intelligent? Because, there might be planets out there with beings just like us, or if not, a little bit less advanced than us, or, uh, what is it called? Like, life that is just, one cell, or, different variations of life. Think about the human evolution. We started from beings that were like one cell, and then we evolved into multicellular organisms, and then we evolved into creatures, and then we evolved into, the higher minded life forms, humans, even though we, did that from creatures that were less evolved, like apes and things like that. So, in my mind, I could say, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a planet that, is in the Goldilocks zone where it's not too hot, not too cold. It's able to sustain life without burning it out or freezing it to death. Um, you know, uh, thinking about that logically, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that could happen. But then my thought process was, okay, well, even if there were, let's assume there is life. One, we don't know that it's intelligent life. It could just be a ape, a chimp. Could just be like a rabbit or a frog or an insect. We don't know that there's advanced life or intelligent life out there. Okay, so that was my thought in the beginning. And then let's go a step further. Let's say there were intelligent life out there. One, it would need to be at a sophistication level that was above humans, because we still have not figured out, well, okay, according to mainstream science, it took us a very long time to figure out how to travel interplanetary, much less intergalactic. Okay? So between planets, it took us a long time to do that. But it's gonna take us even longer to figure out how to travel in between galaxies. Okay. So, all right. Now, if we have intelligent life that is, at the level of humans, then they're still not going to have, ability to to travel to us, right? To like go out on a conquest and invade for minerals or resources or this or that or gemstones or gold or whatever. Okay. But given how big the universe is, sure, yeah, let's say that there is. Okay? So my thought was, at the beginning of this, when I just heard about, aliens or whatever, this is my thought process. Very logical, very, down to earth kind of very, practical. And then, so let's say like maybe 1% of all life in the universe can travel intergalactically. Okay. So then, what are the odds that they would be traveling to Earth? And then you get to the scary part, which is, okay, we have what seems to be UFOs all over Earth. And then, okay, well, if this is a race of ET beings that is so advanced, do you honestly not think that they could just snap their fingers and wipe us the F out and take everything we have on this planet? If they were not loving and kind, if they had no morals, no qualms about wiping humanity out. I think that would be a real possibility. So the UFOs of the 1940s or whatever, flying saucers, yeah, I think if that was an advanced civilization, much like humans, looking to wipe out a culture, a civilization, a people, and take everything that they had for themselves in a selfish way. I think that they would have already done that shit. They would have been like, okay, bye. You guys are pretty stupid, so we're just gonna take everything you have, right? And so that was my kind of original thought going into this is, oh, well, we've seen the UFOs. I've seen some pretty hardcore evidence. You can go on Stephen Greer's DPIarchive.com, Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive, and look for yourself. Don't trust what I'm saying. Look for yourself. Okay. So then we have to go on and in this process. Okay. So, one, now the assumption has changed. Oh, these beings didn't wipe us out. They're showing themselves and saying hello and leaving it at that. In fact, these beings are so loving and kind that they stopped us from wiping ourselves out and in nuclear warfare. So it was around the time that humans developed the atom bomb that all these UFOs started showing up saying, whoa, 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 don't kill yourselves. And also, this is destroying the fabric of the universe. Because what are you doing? You're splitting an atom. And that's just not natural. We shouldn't be doing that. That's not natural, right? So, anyway, we have to view that context as well. That's very important context. Because if these beings started showing up around when we were blowing up things with nuclear bombs, that tells us something. That says that they are actually trying to stop us from blowing ourselves up, and they didn't like it much when we started using those things because it affects we gotta start thinking about things on an interdimensional level. Nuclear bombs, atom bombs, hydrogen bombs, those things screw with the universe. Okay, so it's like, okay, so they don't like that. They, it messes with their homes. And so secondly, so we developed ways of downing their crafts, right? So we're shooting down their crafts, we're using psionic assets, which are basically psychic assets that are calling these UFOs in, these spacecraft in, and then they're shooting they're shooting them down with scalar weapons, which is like faster than, I don't know, like it's a super fast technology that takes out like an EMP. It's almost like a EMP cannon where it shoots out this pulse and it knocks the ship out of the sky. Okay, so you have to make sure that they're within the atmosphere and that you know where their whereabouts are going to land and all that. So that's been going on for a while, those projects to down the ET aircrafts. And if somebody downed your friend's, your buddy's aircraft, let's say somebody, shot up your buddy's car and actually killed your buddy. Well, I would imagine you'd be pretty pissed off about that. And you would want them to stop it. And so they are. They don't like that. They hate that. So another thing that we have to look at is, okay, so we can see that these things are physical, and they also can warp in and out of our direct dimension, right? So the way that I explain, some of these civilizations, the ET civilizations, are like hundreds of thousands of light years away from us. So how then can they get to us? This is a thing that I was very skeptical of when I was first, kind of introduced with the topic of aliens. So how can they travel to us? Well, we must understand that they are interdimensional beings. So if they wanted to physically travel to you, they could shift in and out of dimensions. They could travel at the speed of thought, not light. Thought is faster than light. It is 300,000 miles per hour, if I recall correctly. Or thereabouts. I don't know if that's accurate, but yeah. I think I saw it on Stephen Greer's website, so. And then, we have to look at, like, okay, so they're traveling to us and they're appearing in the skies. They don't like what we're doing, and then so how a lot of people think that these beings are evil, that they're, oh, well, yeah, there's good and evil aliens, No, there's not. Because why there's not good and evil aliens? Here's why. If there was evil aliens, we would have been wiped out a long time ago. Just like I said. So another reason that doesn't even exist. The true reason. And here's another part where we examine our assumptions. When is something completely true? When is something completely false? And when is something sometimes true and sometimes false? You gotta think about these things instead of pigeonholing. Oh yeah, well, there's there's evil ETs. Okay, is that completely true? No, because I've had wonderful experiences with ETs. Is that completely false? Well, if you haven't had any negative experiences with ETs, then yeah. Now here's the distinction. What is an ET and what is an alien? Those are two separate things. I want you to look up what's called an ARV. ARV. Alien Reproduction Vehicle. That means there's something called a vehicle that is intended to look exactly like an alien craft. That, my friends, the military came up with. So they almost intended to scare people with these crafts. Their intention was a fear campaign. Oh, don't connect with these beings, because if you do, the boogeyman's gonna come out of, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. You see how childish that is? When they're actually downing craft and reproducing these alien vehicles, these UFOs. And then what they do with that is they actually can create, and again, this is on dpiarchive.com. So the deep state creates, or CIA, or whatever you want to call it, I don't care. They create these biomechanical robots that look like aliens, intended as a psyop to psychologically scar the American population so they won't bother with connecting with ETs. Okay, so they did psyops. So the extra governmental branch of the military did psyops upon American people in order to scare them off from communicating and connecting with ETs. They wanted the American people to be frightened. And the reason they wanted them to be frightened was they didn't want anyone else getting this technology. this next level technology that they had. So yeah, so anyway, so we'll get off that subject. But all of this stuff is really important for you to know. So I am a alien, no, ET contactee. Okay? ETs have personally contacted me. I have done a protocol called the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocol, CE5. And during that experience, I made contact in meditation with ET beings, and I can tell you from personal experience, they were not anything like the mainstream media portrayed them as, or pretended like they were going to be like this scary, evil, like, don't make contact with these guys because they're scary and they're bad. So ridiculous. And so, as I continued in my contact journey with them, they were nothing but kind and loving and positive with me. Now, this is not what I expected from these beings. I was like, huh? I hope, truth be told, my teacher, my spiritual teacher, Mahadeva, also known as Michael Denney on YouTube, with an EY, he had begun contacting these beings with CE5, and he got really into it. He had some crazy experiences where they were trying to crack him open from, being so closed-minded and so, closed off to them. And he's like, yeah, let's go. I want to take this as far as I can go. And so they blew him wide open. They had a very powerful red mantis being come to him and crack him wide open. And now, I should finish. So after that experience, he was like, oh wow, like I can contact my friends and, my ET friends, and I'm gonna do meditations. I want to tell you what they're like. I want to, all this stuff. And I was like, huh? I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. That sounds really freaky. That sounds really weird. Like, I don't, like, where's the practical guy that I knew? Where's the down-to-earth Michael Denney, Mahadeva? Where's the, the, you need to, get your stuff together, mister. Go do the, go do the practices. Go do the Maoshan Qigong. Go do the, whatever spiritual practice you need to do. He was a very practical guy. Still is, in my mind. I think that practicality kind of turned into something that incorporated the interdimensional nature of reality with the practicality. And so I was very reluctant. I was very reluctant. Are you serious? I want nothing to do with the ETs and all that. And, I was like, that's so weird. Like, I don't know. That So I was really judging him hard for that. I was like, ugh. It's like, have you like lost it? Are you crazy? You've really changed. I used to like I never told him any of that, but that was kind of my thought. Like, really? Are we really doing this? And so, yeah, I was the biggest skeptic of this whole thing. Just like, I don't know. And so that really kind of pushed me away from his channel and his teachings for a while. And then I started having my own experiences. I was like, okay, there must be something to this. There must be. I know he's not crazy. Like, I know, it's like I know him enough to know that he's not making shit up. Like, he's not a crazy guy, he's not trying to be, to lead us astray or to, make, a big deal about what would be like nothing, And so it was that trust in him that and this is the first time that I'm saying this. It was that trust in him that I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna try this. We'll see where it goes. Like, I was just very, like, uh, just had a negative attitude towards the whole thing. I was just like, this is ridiculous. And so you talk about being the biggest skeptic ever. I was probably that. Um, Even though I had been doing a lot of spiritual work for many years, it was just like, whoa, this is over the top. So I give it a try, and I was like, okay, whatever. Even if this is for, my best interest or spiritual empowerment or whatever it is. It's like, okay, let's just do this. And it my journey began slowly. It was over a period of time that I had began to really gain some trust in my AT friends and trusted them enough to like really open up and allow them to work with me and do work in me, like open up my physical body to their healing energy. And there's beautiful, hot, sexy Shakti beings, like feminine ET beings, and that are just so loving and so um beautiful, and you just like want to stay there with them all the time. And it became it became something weird that I didn't understand. It went from being that something weird, something foreign, to, oh, wow, yeah, these are just my friends, these are just people like you and I, you know, and they're just wearing a different suit. They're just wearing some you clothes, you know. And and some clothes. You have that one eccentric the friend that's like, oh yeah, I want to wear like all kinds of colors. I want to wear like uh you know uh a big cowboy hat and colors and like big cowboy boots or whatever, like just dressing so weird. And but you love the dude because it's his soul, it's his personality that counts. You're not like, ew, what are you wearing? Like, why did you wear that? Like, you're different than me just because of something you wear. No, that's not. It's like almost like um doing that, like, with those beings is like almost like um so like, yeah, just judging a being because of what they look like is like, you know, it's just so silly. It's like hating someone because they're a different skin color than you. It's just retarded. It's just the most retarded thing that you could ever do. Or it's like hating someone because they drive a different car than you. It's just the most petty, retarded shit ever, And so there's lizard beings, there's cat beings, there's blue beings, there's, all kinds of different beings, different shapes, different sizes, different this, different that, whatever. And so yeah, and everyone gets along. And so, we'll have someone from Andromeda or Sirius or Arcturus or the Pleiades, and they'll just be all friends. They're just friends. They're just hanging out. They're not like, ew, you're from that constellation. Ew. No, it's like they they love each other, man. It's unlike anything I had ever expected to experience. And so, you think as a human, everyone is like you, or everyone has those human tendencies and characteristics. Oh, I'm gonna go for, steal from this person, or I'm gonna go beat that guy up. No, they don't have that at all. They there's not there's not a jealous bone in their body. There's not a, hateful bone in their body. They're just beings just like we are, except they're more evolved. They're more loving, they're more aware of themselves, and they're more aware of others' needs and wants, and there's a great compassion there for everyone, for each other, and they work as a team, they work as a collective. You know, everybody has their own place in this collective of ETs. So, it's unlike anything you could ever imagine, unless you've experienced it. If you haven't experienced it, well, then you don't know. And I'm sure you're not trusting me right now with this information. That's okay. That's up to you. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm here to share my experience. And you can believe me or not believe me. I literally don't care. I am going to, sit in this chair, recline in this chair, and go into meditation after this and connect and communicate with these beautiful light beings and receive power and energy from them. I literally couldn't care what anyone else thinks about that. And so I have experienced this stuff for myself, and I can say I'm pretty damn impressed by these beings and by, the love and kindness and everything that they've shown me. So moving on from how I first got into this stuff to what I recently experienced in a channeling session. And by the way, if you want a similar channeling for your own soul from the light beings, from the ETs, go to channel.thunderwizard.com. Okay? channel.thunderwizard.com. And also go to look up Michael Denney on YouTube. Denney. Okay. So, my most recent experience was throughout my life, I've been very unsure of who I am, where I'm going, what my mission is, what the hell I'm doing on this earth. I'm sure some of you can relate. And so that reading was just like, oh, here you go. Here's here's what you were sent here to do, and all this, and here's the information, and we're going to kind of play it by ear and see how you respond to this and how far you go with this, and that's it. We're not trying to push you. We are hands off with you. You guide us. You take the wheel, is what they were saying to me. And so I later, after doing some meditations on my heart chakra, I'm in the process of healing my heart chakra, my heart center, and, and coming to the realization that I am an incarnation of Vishnu, and also known in Norse mythology as Ve, because we have Odin in the third eye, Vili in the navel center, and Ve in the heart center. That is who I am, what I am. So, yeah, and that was hard to hear, but I'm like, okay, I'll go with it, and hey, if I'm not associated with Vishnu or an incarnation of his, that's okay. I'm open to be wrong. I am happy to be wrong. I don't have a attachment to whatever, I'm just a human as far as I'm concerned. Who has this 5D experience. And so, they've really taught me who I really am. And they've become my best friends, and I can talk to them as I'm sitting here. I don't need to go into meditation and go all the way up there. I can speak with them here. And yeah, it's a wonderful relationship I have with them now, and I'm just trying to grow that, to expand that, to expand myself into like healing more and, growing more and all that good stuff. And yeah, and they're helping me along with that. And so I can tell you every every human being on this planet is a deity. So, and you can accept that or reject that, still doesn't change the fact. And as I've told more than one person, you have the right to be wrong. People try to question me about different things and say, oh no, this is the actual truth. This is this. Hey man, you have the right to be wrong. I'm okay with that. I have no ego about that. And you don't know any better. So that's okay. It's like a child. You have the right to make mistakes. So anyway, so beyond that, where am I going? I feel that my energy is expanding. My self-acceptance is expanding. I'm becoming more comfortable in my own skin. I am having some pretty amazing, profound experiences, especially with beings like my Shakti being coming to me and, filling me up with loving energy. It's pretty amazing. And, yeah. So, what else? So these beings, what they want to do is connect with you and empower you. And these are your soul family members. These are your brothers and sisters and all that stuff. And, and this is, this is the real reality. We all love to think as humans that we're experiencing the real thing, like this is real, like this reality is real. We even call it reality. It's funny to me because this ain't real. It's up there is real. So, I mean, this is just the illusion of separation. And up there is no separation. Up there is an understanding that we all are one. That everything in the universe, everything in the multiverse, everything in different dimensions and aspects is, at the end of the day, one. And so, if you slap somebody in the face, well, you're actually slapping yourself in the face. And if you punch somebody, you're punching yourself. And so this, what humans think of, oh God, we have to be scared of the aliens, we gotta just fight against them. No, you don't. Because their connection to God, their connection to the source is so much higher than ours, and we're in a very limited space and plane and dimension and existence where there's separation from God. But when they do things like for example, if someone in that dimension were to hurt another being, they would immediately drop in frequency. They'd be like, oh, bye. You don't get to be here if you're like that, so bye. And so it doesn't even occur to the aliens, it doesn't even occur to the light beings, to the ETs, that, to do someone harm. No, they would never do that. They love people. They see in you all the positive aspects, all the good things. They see in you a powerful deity, a powerful person, a powerful being. And in my channeling session, I was told that I had beings that were devoted, like devotees of my deity self, which I have come to believe is Vishnu. And I'm open to be wrong about that. But yeah, there's like groupies. not in that sense, but there's like beings, there's ETs from every galaxy, from every people, from every race of beings that is devoted to helping me and to helping me awaken to myself, and also to doing things that I need them to do. So, for example, I have them connect with you guys. I want them to help you guys open up your heart center. I want them to help you guys raise that frequency and awaken to your deity self. In fact, one of the things that I'm going to work with them on is not only helping myself, but helping heal myself and helping to raise up my own energy, but also those of you whom visit my channel and watch and are, subscribe to me and like my teachings and all that. Actually asking them to work with you guys. So that way there can be a lineage, a Shaktipat, where, I can, better convey energy to you guys and awaken you guys. So that's another thing that I'll be working on with them pretty soon. I just need to kind of kind of set a framework or whatever, if you will. So and yeah, I'm probably thinking too much into that, but yeah. I mean, the intention is what really matters. The intention of them helping you guys. That's what matters most, I think. And so, yeah, you know. So, I think you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say. You know, these beings are very loving, very kind, very, eager to help you, eager to work with you. They know who you are on the deepest level. In fact, one of the things that they said to me is, you've gone through so much trauma within this life and past lifetimes that you have an extreme sensitivity, that I have an extreme sensitivity, and that they don't want to push me hard. They don't want to push me. They don't want to impose upon me. And that's really precious and special to me, that they know that about me without me even conveying that, because they just know. It's my my essence, my identity, my just kind of baked into me, I guess. It's really something special. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's it for now. So I love you guys, and please take care of yourselves and be good, be kind to others. Here's something that you can do to connect with them more, is try to see the positive things in everything. I know for the longest time, for the majority of my life, I was heavily focused on all the negativity. So if you want to heal yourself, focus on the things that give you joy, focus on the things that bring you happiness and love and kindness and gratitude and the good things in life. Even though I know it sounds cliche, these things will really help you. Okay? So, I love you guys. Please take care. Alright. We'll see you guys. And let me know in the comments what you thought, what your assumptions were about these ETs, these aliens, these scary aliens. Let me know what you thought, okay? Alright, guys. Love you. Take care. See ya.